what we could do now to speed that up. Go to the second chapter and use your hand and go across one line at a time with your eye following your hand. And this is important, as fast as you could comprehend. So as long as you know what you're reading, go quicker and quicker and quicker. That's when you know you went too fast. Then slow down to the top speed you could comprehend. And for 5 minutes, go across one line at a time, eyes following your hand. Don't go down the middle. Now go back to the first chapter where you tested yourself. And again, do it for 1 minute with your hand as fast as you could comprehend. And you'll go 20 to 40% further than the little mark you did in the first minute. Just doing that one simple change. It's that easy to go quicker. This is Stephen, graduating college at 16. How did he do? He had a 4.0 and majored in economics, all A's. Went for a master's degree in math at 18. It's a tough master's at any age. He graduated at 19 with a 3.97 GPA. He got a B in one class. He called out, he said, what do I tell my mother? I never got a B before. I said, Stephen, you had a 4.0 at 16. You graduated. You have a master's in math at 19 with a 3.97. I think she'll keep you. It was a happy ending. His mother kept him, but made him promise never to get another B. And he's now a professor at Yale in his early 20s. Again, brilliant young man. But it shows if you give them the right tools, they can leverage that intelligence to an unprecedented level. Would you agree comprehension is more important than speed? Nobody wants to read faster. They want to learn faster, but no one wants to read faster. About 30 years ago, when MSNBC first launched, I was on with Dick Cavett. He was one of their first hosts. And we got to be friends, and I stayed after the interview, and we were chatting, and he told me his story, how he had interviewed Woody Allen. And Woody had read War and Peace in 5 minutes after taking Evelyn Woods. He says, that's amazing. What do you remember? And Woody said, it's about the Russian Revolution. That's all I remember. And that's pretty much speed reading. It's a bio book. It's about math. You didn't learn anything. If you slowed down to learn a word or a name or an idea, you lost your speed. It was all hand motions, and it was conditioned. So it was all or nothing. You had to read fast all the time or none of the time. It didn't work. The man who owned Evelyn Woods in its heyday was Maurice Thompson Jr. He paid me to teach his son my system and wrote a letter saying, I've gone past speed reading to speed learning, bringing it in the 21st century. And I'm going to show you one of the things I did now. What I did is I took the psychology of how the brain makes sense of text and integrated it with the mechanics that everyone else was doing. So you could slow down and learn new things and then speed right up again. Let me demonstrate one of the key elements. It's called schema. Rather than tell you what it is, I'll show you how it works. This passage that you see now has no schema. I'm going to read it with you. Read it with me. Notice how confusing it is. This is an easy thing to do. Many people are able to do this at an early age. Be careful not to rush or you may have a serious problem. You have no idea what I'm talking about because there's no schema. Schema is what makes text meaningful. On the next slide, I have a title, 2 words, and instantly, because they have schema, everything will make sense. Bike riding. This is an easy thing to do. Many people can do this at an early age. Be careful not to rush or you may have a serious problem. Is it confusing now? No. So what I'm teaching people is how to find the schema in the text so they can read very technical material 2, 3, 4 times faster with very good comprehension because they're using the brain's natural mechanism for comprehension and not just working at a higher rate. To be honest with you, I hate reading. I love learning. To me, reading is a screwdriver. It's a tool. The benefit is the information I get. I have a story about that. About 15 years ago, I was lecturing a lot on cruise ships. My wife wanted to go to Hawaii, and they had a cruise, and I wanted to go. So I asked them if I could lecture, and they said, no, they don't want speed reading. I said, I really wanted to go. I said, what do they want? They want someone to teach Photoshop, video, and photography. I said, well, I teach that. I didn't teach that. But I learned very fast. I learned 80 times faster than normal. And I know the rule is if you read 10 books, you're an expert. That's why in college you take 8 to 10 courses in a major. So I bought 10 books on Photoshop. I read them in 3 hours. Now, I didn't know it took 4 years in college to learn, but I did it in 3 hours. Next day, I bought 10 books on photography, read them in 3 hours. Next day, I bought 10 books on video, read them in 3 hours. And I was like, please let these people not know what a camera is or anything about Photoshop, and I'm golden. So I go to the cruise. The first man walks in the room. He's a professional photographer, 38 years, wants me to teach him photography. The second man was a Photoshop avid for 5 years, wants me to teach him Photoshop. And my wife's in the front row kind of misting up because they said if I didn't do it, they'd throw us off the boat. And not in the water, but when you got to shore. And I'm like, please, I hope I can do this. So at the end of the week, they came to me and they said, how many years have you studied to learn all that information? They say, I learned it last week in 3 hours. That's, to me, that was the real win. And you know what? I still use it. I do video products every day. I take pictures. I know how to do Photoshop, and I use it in my business. I don't have 4 years to learn how to do that. I want to use it today. And to me, that's the real power of learning faster. It's the skills you can build to increase your capabilities in your life and business. So what are you doing when you communicate with people to use schema properly? If you're using words they don't know, you're confused. Make sure you always speak to people on their map at their level, not your level. You're an expert in whatever you do. They aren't necessarily experts. And if you use language they don't know, you're not creating rapport, you're building walls. You could use this to cut your time in half, read in nights but took weeks, have more time, be more productive, ultimately make more money. I've read about 30,000 books, so if I'm an idiot, I'm well informed. Every decision you make is based on one thing, what you know. When have you made a decision based on what you don't know? So if you could read more in less time, you have more options. If you have a problem, you have other choices. Make more money. To me, that's really what it's about. This is Justin, normal kid, C student at 11, not a genius. Normal child, trained him. Graduated high school at 15, got his associate's degree at 17, his master's, his bachelor's at 19, master's in English at 21, became an English professor at 22. So at 11 years old, he's a C student. At 22, he's a professor. To me, that's impressive. Now, he wasn't at Yale. He was at Tarrant Community College. Stephen was a whole other animal. He was beyond brilliant. But this is a normal kid, not a genius. Look what he did. How many 22-year-old professors do you know that would see students when they were 11? To me, that says a lot. That's really what I'm interested in doing. I like helping kids. This is the most important skill of all. It's called emotional intelligence. And I'm going to go off the screen share for this one skill. This is what I was teaching the Green Berets and the Royal Thai Army. They're very, very well trained. But some stay awake for days at a time. And if they don't remember what they were taught, they could die. You have a bad day, you go home late. They have a bad day, they don't go home at all. So I was showing them how to stay alert after being awake for 3-4 days in the field so they could still be vigilant. And I'm going to teach you the same skill right now, how to wake up. So if you're going to a class after work or a long, boring meeting or driving in traffic, you can wake up. So do this with me. You know, the left side of the brain controls the right controls the left. So take your left hand, touch your right shoulder, do it. Take your right hand, touch your left shoulder, and alternate. It's like the Macarena without the music. Now, ideally, you should stand, but don't stand today because everyone's in sweatpants. I know I am, so I'm sure many of you are too. So take your left hand, touch your right knee, your right hand, touch your left knee, alternating. Later on, you do it standing. Your knee's going to move and your hand's going to move, so both sides of your brain are doing it. Grab your thumb in your hand like I am and say this like you mean it with real enthusiasm. I feel great.
Yes.
With passion. Because if you don't feel it, there's no state. The state is I feel great. And if you don't feel great, go, I feel great. Well, that's what you're going to remember later on, and it's going to do you no good. We're going to do 3 sets of these, starting with shoulder taps. Ready? At my speed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Knee taps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How do you feel? You feel great. Yes. Do it a little faster this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Knees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I feel great. Yes. This time as fast as you can go. And when you're standing, stand away from the table or you'll bang your knees. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How do you feel? I feel great. Yes. Feel great. Smile. You know what happens when you do this 3 times? Nothing. Now you probably would like something, so let me show you how that works. Remember Pavlov? He rang a bell, he fed a dog. He rang a bell, he fed a dog. He rang a bell, the dog drooled. You don't want to drool, but you do want to feel great. The latest studies show habits take 90 days, not 30 days to form. So slow, medium, fast, shoulders, legs, I feel great, yes, every day, 90 days. Now you're in an important meeting or taking an exam. You don't want to stand up and start tapping your shoulders. They'll throw you out of the room. Grab your thumb and say, I feel great, yes, to yourself. That's your bell. Every time you felt great, you went, I feel great, yes. Your brain remembers that. And that's what I was teaching the young men in the military. So you grab your thumb when you're falling asleep. Say, I feel great, yes. You wake up. You showed them how to relax. So when they're getting shot at, they don't have a nervous breakdown. It's very uncomfortable being shot at. And if they do what they were trained to do, they'll be fine. But if they get nervous, they don't remember what they were taught. Imagine I'm teaching you to drive and you're ready for the road test, but you failed. Why? I got nervous. It was a test. You know anyone ever got nervous on a test? So what if I didn't just teach you how to drive, but how to stay calm during the road test? How many more of my students would graduate and pass the test? How many more referrals would I get? And that's what it's about. It's called emotional intelligence. And I have a business question on that, which is, what are you doing to create the states people need to be in to do what you're telling them? And what are you doing to help eliminate the states that get in the way, like anxiety? The reason a lot of my kids did so well in school, they weren't nervous taking tests. I showed them how to relax. They elicited a relaxation response. So they didn't lose all the information they knew. They didn't forget everything they were taught. They were staying calm and focused. How do you use this? Well, you can increase your productivity, reduce stress, and help other people succeed. Little math. The numbers in our country are appalling. 38% of high school seniors can't count. I'm talking decimals, fractions, and percentages. These are not dropouts. These are seniors. They're doing calculus in 6th and 7th grade in Europe. Our 12th graders can't count to 10. You can't remain an international power when your people can't do science and math. That's what's driving our economy. So this is a real serious problem in our country. I don't know if you're aware, but in the next 5 to 10 years, 30% of all jobs will disappear because of robots. Why would anyone want someone to drive a truck when a robot doesn't sleep, goes 24/7, doesn't get paid, needs no coffee break? And that's what's going to happen. All these low-hanging jobs are going to be replaced by automation. It's happening already. We have more manufacturing now than ever, but fewer jobs because it's all being done by robots, and it's going to continue in that direction. The only way these people are going to be able to make a living is learning a new skill. And that's what I'm doing. How's a truck driver going to learn a new skill? There's a reason they're a truck driver. They're not a nuclear physicist for a reason, but that's where they're going to make their money. So they got to learn how to change. Speed math. Here's a problem. 103 times 107. You should have the answer now, no calculator, in your head. And yes, it's that simple. Would you like to see how? Say yes. Notice both of these numbers are bigger than 100. That's significant. They both have to be bigger, and they're near 100. How much bigger than 100 is 103? 3. How much bigger than 100 is 107? 7. So write those numbers down next to the numbers they came from, 3 and 7. And just multiply the two numbers. 3 times 7 is 21. How hard was that? That's the hard step. Now the easy step, add diagonally. 103 plus 7 is 110. Well, what if you go the other way? 107 plus 3 is 110. Look at that, it's the same answer. It's always going to be the same. So pick the easier way to add because it's the same answer. Write it down, 110. 103 times 107 is 11,021. 110, 21. How hard was that? Now, when I was teaching years ago, when I got out of college, I was a teacher in New York for 10 years. A lot of these kids said, I can't do math, it's hard. And if they believe that, and they did, then it is too hard, because that's an EQ problem. So I'd have them do something like this, and then, look, you can do math. You can't believe you can't do something you're doing. And that made it easier to teach them. But it's also important in business. Does anyone watch the news and said there's just too many smart people in our world making too many good decisions? That's our big problem right now. I haven't heard that, not from anyone. Imagine you're an accountant, a financial planner, a realtor, a banker, and you crunch numbers for a prospect or a client like I just did in your head, and you were right. What are the chances that person looks at you and says, that's the bank we need to work with. That's the realtor we need. They're genius. I don't know how they did that. It's amazing. They don't know how easy it is. They just see what you did. It looks hard, but it's not. It's an instant rapport builder. So it impresses the clients, builds rapport, increases efficiency because all businesses have numbers and you can do them in your head. And I think it's fun. Now, the last skill I'm going to teach you is memory. People say, Howard, you remember anything? You read 80 pages a minute. I remember a lot. So can you. First, I'm going to do an experiment. I won't show you how to remember and give you 10 things to remember. Then I'll show you how, and you'll remember them with no effort, backwards and forwards in less than 3 minutes. And by the way, it's so easy. You can teach this to 3-year-olds because I have. You want to remember pole, shoes, tricycle, car, glove, gun, dice, skate, cat, and bowling pins. Is it safe to say right now you don't know 10 things backwards and forwards? That would be a normal response. You will in 3 minutes, effortlessly. This is a secret that was unraveled thousands of years ago in ancient Greece. They discovered if you have a list, you know, it's hanging in your memory. And what do you do with hangers? You hang things on them. And you take the list you want to learn and combine it with the list you have already. It takes very little time. I'm going to bet if you're in Rotary, you can count to 10. I feel very confident in that prediction. And we're going to use those 10 numbers to learn those 10 objects in 3 minutes, backwards and forwards, effortlessly. The number 1 looks like a pole. So this is important. Studies show you remember 10% of what you read, but 90% of what you say and do. This is not a drill. This is a tool. So I want you to learn it. When I say, do it, you'll learn it. Watching it, you won't learn it. 1 looks like a flagpole. So when I say 1, you say pole. 1. Perfect. 2 is shoes. How many shoes do you wear? 2. So when I say 2, you say shoes. 2.
Shoes.
1.
Oh,
3 is a tricycle. How many wheels are on a tricycle? 3. So what's 3? Tricycle. What was 2? Shoes. What was 1?
oh,
Pole. You're getting smarter. Your brain's seeing what I'm doing now. 4 is a car. How many tires are on a car?
4.
So what's 4? Car. What was 2? Shoes. What was 1? Pole. What was 3? Tricycle. I'm jumping on purpose. It doesn't matter. The brain's learning it. 5 is a glove. How many fingers are in a glove? 5. So what's 5? Glove. 3. Tricycle. 1. Pole. Great. 6 gun. When I lived in Texas, everyone's a cowboy. They had 6 shooters. What's 6? Gun. 4. Car. 2, shoes. We're almost done. 7 is lucky in the game of dice. 7 is lucky. Dice. What's 7? Dice. What was 5? Give you a clue. Glove. 3, tricycle. 1, pole. Perfect. Rhymes work. Say 8, skate. 8, skate. What's 8? Skate. What was 6? What did they love in Texas? Guns. 4, car. 2, shoes. We're only 2 more. 9 is a cat. How many lives does a cat have? 9. So what's 9? Cat. What was 7 lucky in? Dice. What was 5? Glove. 3, tricycle. 1, pole. Last one. How many bowling pins are in an alley? 10 bowling pins. So what's 10? Bowling pins. Let's do the list together that you couldn't do effortlessly. What was 1? Pole. What was 2? Shoes. What was 3? Tricycle. What was 4? Car. What was 5? Glove. 6. What do they love in Texas? Gun. Lucky. 7. What is that? Dice. 8 rhymes with skate. 9 is a cat. And what was 10? Bowling pins. And how does it make you feel? Great. When you feel great, do that. It strengthens the response later when you need it. You learned how to peg. Now, this is a way to speed learn numbers. Numbers are tricky. Pictures are easier to remember. So here's a hotel room, 314. How many times by the time you get to the lobby, you forgot what room you were in? Here's how to remember them. 3 is a tricycle, 1 is a pole, 4 is a car. Picture this. A tricycle hits a pole on a car. Picture that. A tricycle hits a pole on a car. Tricycle, what number?
3,
3. Hits a pole
1,
on a car.
4,
At your room, tricycle, pole, car. The 0 is the 10 bowling pins, if you need a 0. This is also the value of pi in geometry, 3.14 to measure a circle. So I teach this to kids for math and science and history dates. In business, it's for due dates, percentages, room numbers. Anywhere there's a number, you make the pictures and you create a movie. And when you recall the movie with the pictures, the numbers come back. So now you know how to speed learn numbers. And yes, you can teach this to 3-year-olds. They don't know it's a game, but they're learning how to think. And that's what's missing in school. We needed, before we taught any of those kids any subjects, we taught them how to read, how to write. They were writing 28-page MLA-cited reports in 4 hours time at the graduate school level. We had them graded by a graduate school dean who didn't know they were kids. And that's the difference when you teach them how to learn and remember and do math before they learn anything, then they're going to do really well. We made only 1 grade, an A. You didn't go to the next subject till you got an A. You either knew it or you didn't know it. There's no B's, there's no C's, there's no D's. You either know it or you don't know it. And all our tests were essay tests. You couldn't flub it. You had to actually know what you were saying. And as a result, they got really smart because we pushed them to use their brains and not just look at a book for 5 minutes and hope by magic they were going to learn something. It doesn't work that way in the real world. What are you doing in your businesses to make it easy for people to remember what you tell them? Think of how many times you forgot something someone told you. You can use this to learn all kinds of things, names, facts, numbers, languages. Now, last kid, and then I have a gift for your club. Brad did his 4-year college degree in 6 months. Very smart, not typical. He went to Thomas Edison, where you can clap out of 90%. It's an online program from Rutgers. Then he learned Chinese in 3 weeks and became a missionary. So not your normal person. Sold his company when he was about 40 for $38 million. But he says he did it because of what I taught him. Made me very proud. I had a group of kids, 11 to 15 in my school. One of the kids' brothers had Down syndrome. So they started a not-for-profit. They made $98,000 their first year of business, and won the Silver Pyramid as the best not-for-profit in America. They beat Rotary. They were 11 years old. So did you learn something useful? I'm going to
Yeah.
give you a gift.
Absolutely, Howard. I know there's a lot of content here. Thank you so much. I'll let you get through the online gift, but then we do need to wrap up. So
Okay, go real fast. I'm giving you my reading, writing, memory, and math program for all. I'm going to stop sharing. Putting this in the chat. This is my email. And email me, and I'll send you a link for all your Ryla, Rotaract, your Interact kids. This is my cell phone. I'll give them my learning program as a gift for free. If you'd like to sponsor a school, I'm going to give you my website. It's berglearning.com/Rotary. Go to Rotary as the coupon. What I do is I have a $1,500 program, but I give it to Rotary for $197, but then I pay it to the school. I donate the reading program to a school of your choice for a year at no charge to the school. I need the name of the school, the person, their phone, and email. So when you get the program, use it with your kids, your grandkids, your business, your nieces, use it with everyone. Give them my cell phone. If they need help, I'll help them for free. Then give me the name of a school you want to help. Schools are having problems today. So I'll donate the program. I use the money to pay people who work for me because they don't work for free. And then I donate it to the school for a year at no cost. And this way, the people in Rotary who are successful at helping people who have nothing become more successful. Imagine 3 million Stephen Terrys in this country. What would that do to solve problems? That's what I'm trying to do. We're giving these kids global warming, COVID, an exploding deficit. Shouldn't we make them smart enough to figure out how to solve some of the problems? So thank you for having me. I'll answer any questions. And if there isn't time, you have my cell phone and email. Please go to berglearning.com/Rotary. Use the coupon Rotary, get the program, donate it to a school of your choice. Thank you for having me.
Howard, thank you so much. Want to remind all of our members, we have recorded today's session. Stephen will be able to post this and we'll get that link out. So if you want to re-watch and absorb again a second time, certainly able to do that. And thank you so much for the very generous offer to help others. I just think that's phenomenal. And